Okay, I've not been covering the recent White House press briefings very much. It's mostly very procedural and sort of perfunctory announcements combined with relatively benign and sometimes dumb questions from the press corps. And I hate that that's how I'm breaking it down, but I think it reflects the reality of recent press briefings. But this past Friday, there was a really great example of White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki using super basic, simple epistemology techniques that I've talked about on the program for a very long time to make a Newsmax reporter, I guess they're calling her a reporter, attempting gotcha questions look like the fool that she is. And you really have to look at this clip almost second by second, because it's a veritable treasure trove of instructive critical thinking material. I won't even tell you anything about what's in the clip. Let's just start the clip, see if you can start identifying the logical fallacies here.
Thanks, Jen. I have questions on a couple different topics. First, given the number of former Obama administration officials that are now in this Biden administration and the president's relatively light schedule, there's a growing perception that this is really just the third term of President Obama.
Okay, so already we have conclusions that do not follow from premises, and we have false premises. This is basic critical thinking stuff. The premises are, and she actually says, given that, that's how you know it's a premise, given that there are Obama officials in this administration, and given that Joe Biden is keeping a very light schedule. Now, these are terrible premises. There are Obama officials in this administration, just like every administration has officials from prior administrations. It's not unique. It doesn't tell us very much one way or the other. Second, given Joe Biden's light schedule, this is part of the Biden senile and demented and can't do anything. Joe Biden doesn't have a light schedule. He has a completely normal presidential schedule, given that there's a pandemic still going on. Trump did not work for the final 6 to 8 months of his presidency. He golfed on nearly 20% of the days of his presidency. So 2 false premises. And the conclusion, by definition, has to be false, but also it's false because this is not an Obama third term. What does that even mean? False premises, conclusion doesn't follow. Let's continue going back a few seconds and then going further forward.
And the president's relatively light schedule, there's a growing perception that this is really just the third term of President Obama. What do you say to people who say that?
Who were saying that? Who's saying that?
You hear that a lot in the media.
Who in the media?
Different people.
Okay, so Jen Psaki, well done. Well done. Trump, people are saying, says the Trumpian reporter. She turns it into, well, who is saying that? Who exactly? The reporter has nothing, and look at what happens next.
Well, there was lots of questions about when you had Japanese Prime Minister Suga here on the one and only so far in-person bilateral head of state meeting. It was Vice President Kamala Harris who greeted the Prime Minister. Many people found that odd.
Okay, so now we get an example, but still, many people found that odd. Well, hold on a second. What people? Media people? Politicians? Random voters? Who are you talking about?
She's already taking independent one-on-one calls with key allies like Prime Minister Morrison and Justin Trudeau. So I just want to get your reaction to people who question that.
Well, it's hard to react when I don't know what people you're talking about. I will say that the president met with the prime minister, as you know, and had a full meeting, a full press conference afterwards, and they even shared a meal. So, and the president has had dozens of conversations and calls with world leaders, and should be no surprise that the vice president is also playing an important role, engaging with and having discussions with foreign leaders.
There's really nothing there, as you can see. This was false premises, a bogus conclusion from those premises, and then an out of context single example when she just said, well, there's all of these different examples. And she's able to come up only with one, and it's weak and it's barely connected to what they're talking about. This stuff falls apart under basic questioning. Supply side economics implodes if you ask 2 or 3 basic questions. Debt deficit political football talking points. They fall apart. They have to be questioned. And it really doesn't take exotic methods to expose this stuff. And a lot of times people will call in and they'll say to me, how do I deal with at the Thanksgiving table my crazy Trumpy uncle saying this, that, or the other thing? And very often, if you don't want to start a huge fight, it's just about asking how they came to know or believe the things that they tell you. And it will very quickly fall apart. Let's look at a little bit more. Now, this is the same reporter, apparently named Emerald, trying some other gotchas. The first one didn't work on Jen Psaki, so she moved on to some other gotchas, onto Dr. Fauci conspiracies and other things. Take a look.
That the NIH and Dr. Fauci had provided funding to the Wuhan lab of virology. That's the lab in question when we talk about the lab leak theory. And given that gain-of-function research is dicey, why would the U.S. fund that in China? Why would Dr. Fauci?
I'm happy to send you to the NIH about more specifics of what program they funded and more details of that.
Now, I do have one more follow-up on that because the president hasn't really weighed in. Dr. Fauci is one of the voices who discredit the lab leak theory, but now there's more officials in the Biden administration, like the Director of National Intelligence, the CIA Director, and now also the NIH Director, who say that this cannot be ruled out, and there's calls for more investigation into it. Who does the president agree with, Dr. Fauci or the other officials? Does he think it was a lab leak?
Well, the president has said, and I've said from here many times, that there needs to be a credible, independent investigation through the World Health Organization, and that one that relies on data, relies on participation from China and other countries that may have information. That's certainly something everybody has called for, and we look forward to that happening.
Why hasn't the president spoken with President Xi about the origins of the coronavirus yet? He said just a few weeks ago he hadn't yet.
I think we have given a readout of his call, and also that the president believes there should be an independent investigation led by health experts, and one where their data is provided, that's provided transparently to our medical and science experts here in the United States, and we look forward to reviewing that. We're going to have to go on. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Emerald. I think you've had plenty of time today. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Really embarrassing. I mean, if these people were able to feel shame, she should be leaving with her tail between her legs and never showing her face in that briefing room again. I'm not even sure how she's in the briefing room, quite frankly, but that's another topic altogether. I know that Jen Psaki has young kids. She deals with these reporters almost like dealing with little kids. You've gotten enough time. I let you say your thing. I've humored you. Let me go on to somebody else now. Okay, kiddo, we can do more tomorrow, maybe, if she's allowed back in. Well done there. But it's not, there's nothing exotic or special that's happening. It's just, well, hold on. Let's listen to what you're saying and actually figure out if there's anything behind it. This is a really good technique. We've talked about it before, and I'm sure that we will talk about it again. Let's take a quick break. Make sure you're following me on Twitter @DPakman, and we'll be back right after this. One of our sponsors is Vincero Watches, giving you 15% off. A high-quality wristwatch is the perfect way to elevate your style. Own at least one watch that makes you feel great when you put it on. You can often see me wearing my Vincero watch on the show. Mine is the gunmetal vessel model. I'm a big fan of the metallic look of the face of the watch. I like the silicone strap. You won't find a better-made watch for this good a price anywhere else. When you put it on, you know you got more than you paid for. Vincero believes in crafting super quality watches from high-end materials, but selling them at fair prices, which is why they have over 26,000 five-star reviews, and they stand behind every watch they make with a 1-year return policy and 5-year warranty. They'll give you 15% off everything in their store and free shipping at davidpakman.com/watch. Use the coupon code PAKMAN.